From the hot air balloon capital of the world, this is live coverage of the 50th anniversary edition of the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, powered by ExxonMobil. It's Balloon Fiesta Live. And now, direct from the rooftop studio at Balloon Fiesta Park in Albuquerque, New Mexico, here are your hosts, Glen Moyer and Lloyd Jr.
And good evening and welcome, everybody, to the 50th Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, powered by ExxonMobil, live from Albuquerque, New Mexico. I'm Glen Moyer. The gentleman next to me is Lloyd.
Junior.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Well, I wasn't sure if you want me to use the junior bit or not. We've had that discussion.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. It just kind of makes sure.
Lloyd Jr.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Mr. Moyer, the man, the legend.
The myth, the man, the legend.
Yeah.
This is an inside joke for Andrew Holly, but I needed a ball cap today because it was so bright and sunny and hot up here, and this is the only one I had in the car.
Hey, so it's the first evening event for us here at Balloon Fiesta. For 2022, the 50th one. It is a Twilight Twinkle glow night.
It is.
With fireworks and that new special drone show. And fast tracks jumping later tonight with their pyrotechnics.
Yeah, the fireworks in the sky.
And they are sponsored this year by the city of Las Vegas, New Mexico.
Not the other Las Vegas.
Not the other one.
Las Vegas, New
this is a very historic town. I was just reading, it has one of like 3 drive-in movie theaters left in the state.
Seriously?
Yeah, so
Man.
A great place to visit as well as some great historical
I'm going to need to make a visit then. I love drive-in theaters. I miss them from my youth. You know?
Yeah. So it's a great place to visit here in New Mexico, and so we would encourage everybody to go by and see the city of Las Vegas while you're in New Mexico, or when you make a trip that way.
You know, our drone show that you just mentioned debuted this morning as a top secret.
Right.
We barely even found out about it in advance, and it was awesome. I shot some images from here on the rooftop studio. Not the best, but the reaction on Facebook, on my Facebook page, has been phenomenal, and people are really, really excited to see that tonight, and we're going to show it on our live feed.
We are. You'll be able to see it here live. I saw a number of pictures taken this morning from that, and it was really, really nice to see. I think even those of us who have been in on this show from the early days and have been in on the production and helping design it, and, well, we want this, we want that in it. I think even we were surprised at how impressive it was.
Yeah, and kudos to you, because you produce the audio track for it, and it was timed out perfectly with the show. Really well done job. Well done, sir.
It was fun to do, and I'm working from a computer rendering of the show.
Yeah, so you had never seen the show either.
I had never seen the show until this morning either. So I knew it was coming. I knew it was supposed to happen, and I have to tell you that the rendering doesn't even hold a candle to the show itself.
No, the show was really spectacular, and I can't wait for our viewers to see it tonight. We didn't show it this morning because, quite frankly, it was top secret, and we didn't really know what to expect.
And it took place before we were on the
air.
It did,
yeah. It takes place at 5:45 in the morning, so it's before we sign on.
So get here early tomorrow, and you will be able to see that, because it'll be Saturday, Sunday, all 4 of those mornings. One, of course, has already gone by. And every evening event, there are 5 evening events. Tonight is the first one.
Right.
So every evening event, it goes off at 7:45 as well.
So our online viewers, if they want to see it, they'll want to watch the evening broadcast.
Yes.
Because in the mornings, we will not be able to show it because it's before we come on.
Yeah, it becomes a little tough that time of morning to actually do a replay of a video, because there's just so much happening at 6 o'clock in the morning our time. Unlike the evenings now, we've got a few minutes before we get moving with our Twilight Twinkle glow.
Right.
So Fast Tracks, which we mentioned coming up at 7:30 with their pyrotechnics, they jumped at 5 o'clock and did an extra special show for us.
They did.
Something we've not seen here in Albuquerque from them before.
Usually 4 jumpers, and tonight there were 7. They did a diamond vertical stack, which is a maneuver they've never done here before. Nope. They flew not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 American flags. It's a great show. You're going to love it.
It is. Sponsored by the city of Las Vegas. Let us bring to you the Fast Tracks team jump as they came in just about an hour ago.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to the 50th Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, powered by ExxonMobil. High overhead, we're getting ready for the first jump of Team Fast Tracks.
And it's going to be a very special one, because they are going to jump not 1 flag, Not two flags, not three flags, but 4 flags. We're expecting 7 jumpers in the next 30 seconds. So if you can spot the plane overhead and put your attention skyward. Sounds like they're behind us.
I think they're behind us because I can't see them. Oh, no, there they are. Right up over
there they are, almost
right
directly straight overhead
straight
of the
up
field.
ahead.
There they are. So we'll be watching for the first 2 jumpers with a 5,000 square foot American flag, the second one with a 2,000 square foot American flag.
And instead of just 4 jumpers, we have 7 jumpers this evening?
7. 2 with the first big flags, and then we're going to see a diamond
jumper 1's
portion.
away.
So let's watch. There's number 1. There's number 2 shoot.
There's 3. There's 4.
4. 5.
6. And 7. Looks like 7 good shoots.
7 good shoots. Directly overhead of the field.
Now, the first 2 jumpers are going to be those deploying the flags, and then the next 4 are going to form up a diamond canopy formation.
And the last one is actually filming all of this. There's those 2 American flags. That would be 7,000 square feet of freedom.
Of freedom, absolutely. 5,000 and 2,000.
And we can see the other 4 starting to form their little diamond.
Yep, number 3 is just joining the formation. Number 4 trailing slightly behind. He'll be joining them shortly, I'm sure.
Larry Compton and Dimitri Dadik flying the flags for us.
And once they form their diamond formation, they're going to try a fly-through between the 2 flags. Is that right?
That's the plan. The 4 making the diamond, Brian Pangburn, Yulia Pangburn, Nicole Condry, and John Hart.
So it looks like jumper number 4 moving into formation now.
If you haven't spotted them, they're just over the south end of the field.
Look toward the museum and then up high. Probably the diamond formation forming up probably just about over the museum.
Yep.
And the 2 flags are just up really over our rooftop studio. So this looks like a 4-man diamond stack, a vertical diamond, I think is what we're going to see. Looks like number 4 just gotten into position. And then the 7th jumper, the camera trailing them.
And once they have that diamond together, we're going to watch for 2 more American flags.
1 is out, 2 is out. There they are.
There they are. And there's the streamer from the trailing shoot.
So the diamond is now turning and going to make an approach and do a fly through the 2 large flags. So let's watch for that maneuver. It's underway now. Here they come. Look at the closing speed they have.
Look at that. Yep.
And smoke on. And there is the fly through. Yes, sir.
All righty.
And now the 2 large flags will turn. I guess we could call that turning final as they're on their descent down into Balloon Fiesta Park, of course.
Well, it looks like we'll see a few other maneuvers up there.
I'm sure we will.
This is great. They've never done that this year in Albuquerque, so we're glad to have them doing some extra special maneuvers in the sky today for us.
And by the way, the 4 jumpers making up that 4-way diamond consist of the current United States Parachute Team National Champion in 2-way sequential, and they'll be representing the United States at the upcoming 2022 World Championship of Skydiving.
That'll be exciting.
My neck hurts.
We should mention flying the 7th canopy up there is Mike Dirge. He's the one with the 200-foot red, white, and blue streamer.
And the 4-way diamond stack, again, that is a vertical stack with 1 jumper on top, 2 to either side, and then the 4th down below. And now they break the stack as they prepare to set up for their landing approach.
And ladies and gentlemen, let's honor America now with the performance of our national anthem. On time, on target.
Ladies and gentlemen, Team Fast Tracks.
And there's Larry Compton bringing the 5,000-foot square foot American flag down. Let's hear it again for Team Fast Tracks.
Absolutely. What a great show. Nicely done, fellas. Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
Yes.
and by the way, they will be back at 7:30 tonight with a
Their
pyrotechnics jump.
That's right. Their nighttime jump.
So you want to stay tuned for that.
Wow.
That's still, watching that back again, that was an hour ago when
Yeah.
they jumped in at 5 o'clock. Just fabulous. We didn't mention on the recording there their ground specialist, Sam Deeds,
Yes.
who helps coordinate all the things here on the ground and all that other kind of stuff. So thanks to the entire Fast Tracks team. Again, they're scheduled to be back at 7:30 tonight and sponsored by the city of Las Vegas, New Mexico. You know, I
Absolutely.
told you that it's got one of the 3 remaining drive-in theaters in the U.S., and it's probably no wonder at all because being only 2 hours from Albuquerque, an hour from Santa Fe, there are tons of movies and television shows all being filmed up in the Las Vegas area. So many people who have watched things like maybe the, where was that? I had the list here. Longmire or Roswell, New Mexico,
Yeah.
the Outer Range, all of those filmed in Las Vegas or in the Las Vegas area. So
Outstanding.
many, many people have seen the area around there, the mountains, the lakes, all that great stuff in Las Vegas, New Mexico. If you're ever in the area here, do stop by and check out the folks in Las Vegas, New Mexico. The other one.
Find some movie sets up there, probably. Yeah. Well, somebody, one of our friends online, and I just I lost the comment here in all of the chat, but said to mention that I think she was telling me there is a drive-in theater still up in Oregon where she lives. In fact, she lives right behind it. I liked one of the comments from our viewers that just said, talking about Team Fast Tracks, just simply said, "This is amazing."
It is.
It is.
It is. It's an amazing show, and we are now live on the PA here as well. So good evening to all of you here.
Good evening, everybody.
For our Twilight Twinkle Glow. It is scheduled for a few minutes from now. As you can tell, it's just a little breezy here on the field. If you are looking at that shot, you see why, and that is because of the clouds that are around in the area, some convective activity that is going on. So there is just some weather in the area that is causing some outflows and some other bursts, downbursts, and all that other kind of stuff that happens when you have clouds building and dissipating and all that other stuff going on.
Yeah, I've noticed since we were here, early this afternoon, about 4:30, our backdrop has been doing a little bit of the wop, wop, wop as the winds have come and gone.
Yep. You can see that the yellow flag is up.
It is up, yes.
So that just basically means that we are on hold this evening for our Twilight Twinkle Glow. I know that our Balloon Fiesta officials are conferring with the weather guys and talking about what the options might be. We have decided to postpone the launch of America's Challenge tonight.
Exactly. That was if that were going on schedule, they would be launching already.
Right.
We had planned for them to begin inflating about 2 or 3 in the afternoon and be ready to launch just at 6 p.m. this evening in hopes of getting them out in front of some weather that may be coming this way.
But obviously they saw this moving in,
right,
and so decided to postpone that. So the next briefing is at 12 o'clock tomorrow.
Okay.
And so that same window, the same pattern we were going to do today, has now been moved to tomorrow.
In that camera shot from the field here, you can see the sun setting out in the west, but you can also see the low-lying clouds. Those are not that high, actually.
No.
And that's some of what's building and kind of messing around with the weather. It's kind of up and down and back and forth. And, yes, it is. Hi, Willie. How are you, sir? Good to see you.
Oh, there he is.
Willie Eimers.
Yep.
One of the great gas balloonists in the world, who was honored last night at the Hall of Fame ceremonies for the Fédération Aéronautique Internationale, which, as Mark Sullivan said, is short for FAI.
Right.
And
Willie, for you to say.
Yeah, Willie was inducted last year, but wasn't able to be here because of the travel restrictions with COVID. So he did join us last night, and I didn't have a chance to meet him, but I did have a chance to meet his son Benny and have a chat with him. On a personal note, the Eimers, especially Benny and the family, have been great about supporting balloonists in Ukraine.
Oh, yes.
And they have helped with some Ukrainian refugees, one of which is a very dear friend of mine. They helped get her out of the country, and her husband and child, and get them into Germany, where they're now safe and living as happily a life as they can away from their homeland. So kudos to the Eimers family for all that they've done, and they're supporting balloonists who are still in Ukraine, as well as helping others try to get out of the country and out of that nasty war. The Eimers family are just legends in gas ballooning and in ballooning in general over in Germany.
And the just recently completed Gordon Bennett race.
Willie and Benny won it. Yes. Yeah.
With kind of in some ways a little daring flight there to go back out over the ocean, the sea, Black Sea, was it? That they went out over, and everybody's thinking, what the heck are they doing out there? But to come back and land on the shore. Yeah, kind of interesting.
It was a daring maneuver. And while we're talking about that ceremony last night, let us say congratulations to the two current inductees, and that would be Vincent Lays from France, who has won the Gordon Bennett 9 times, more than anyone in the world. And then our very own from Albuquerque, the late Carol Reimer Davis, who was honored last night and inducted into the FAI's International Hall of Fame. And while you're here, please stop and visit the museum, the Anderson and Abruzzo Albuquerque International Balloon Museum, right behind us. And they actually host the FAI's International Hall of Fame, and there's a great display about both Vincent and Carol as the two new inductees. And Carol Reimer Davis was legend here in Albuquerque. There were a lot of people who were very near tears last night as that ceremony was going on. As her husband John mentioned, 12 years and 1 day since we lost Carol and Richard Abruzzo. And what a thrill to see her go into the International Hall of Fame. Well deserved.
So many record flights, so many other achievements that she accomplished. And some of the stories of some of those flights in these little tiny balloons.
Yeah, Troy Bradley was talking about that, taking very small balloons and going to over 30,000 feet.
Remember, oxygen is needed at 12,000.
Right.
And this is 3 times that high.
And we're talking not pressurized capsules, but just open air, hot air balloon baskets.
Right.
Some amazing things. And she was an amazing doctor. She was an amazing balloonist. And shortly before she was killed tragically, she had started a new jewelry making business. I know I had talked with her and had seen some of the jewelry she was just beginning to make and market. And I was talking with her about getting some of that. And then, of course, they went overseas to fly the Gordon Bennett, and then we lost him in that tragic accident.
I had forgotten all about that.
So she was a multi-talented lady.
Skier as well.
Yeah, a skier. Yeah. She loved adventure. Just an amazing woman. And I don't think there's many of us who've been in the sport for any length at all that don't have a story of some sort about Carol. Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah, wonderful lady,
Yep.
and we all miss her.
We do. Speaking of the Balloon Museum that you mentioned, where the FAI International Hall of Fame is housed, they have a brand new exhibit over there just opened.
They do.
50 years of Balloon Fiesta.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of videos in there to watch. There's a lot of information.
I know a couple of folks who had a little something to do with that.
Yeah. It's really, they've done a really fine job on that exhibit. There's kind of a fun little piece of artwork there. There's, like I said, a lot of videos. And yes, you might even, when you wander in there, hear some voices.
Hear a couple of voices
that
might
you might
recognize. Yeah.
Doing things that we hope to be doing tonight.
Absolutely.
Calling off a balloon globe.
All burns and twinkle burns and flicker burns and phone glows and who knows what for tonight.
Exactly. And there's even a basket with a burner hooked up in there.
Now, are you going to tell the story on yourself?
No. You can go in there and you can fire the burner off to our countdown.
All right, I'm going to tell the story then. Your wife Bobby was with you seeing this exhibit, and the voice track with us counting down to an all burn started, and before it got to the all burn call, Bobby reached up and pulled the cord to fire the burner, and the whoosh of the burner went off, and you no longer could hear our voice track, and someone made the comment, well, they finally found a way to shut us up. I changed it to us. I think they said you.
Yeah, they said me, but because I was standing there.
But in fairness, they found a way to shut us up.
There you go.
Which is not easily done.
Yeah. So some great historical pieces. The trophy from the first from the actual first balloon rally, the Roadrunner Coyote gathering in April with Don Picard won. His trophy is there. I believe the first World Hot Air Balloon Championship trophy is there. A lot of old jackets, the uniforms and things like that we've given to pilots or officials, things like that. And like I said, some video footage that we really haven't seen in many, many, many years. That's all been kind of recompiled, re-edited, and is now available for you at the Albuquerque International Balloon Museum.
Well, and I've been doing, and I know Bobby and I, your wife Bobby and I talked, we're both doing a little bit of retro in our clothing this week. I've been doing a different balloon shirt every night. I went back into the closet and pulled out a bunch of my previous Balloon Fiesta shirts. This one that I'm wearing tonight happens to come from 2010, but it's still like brand new. Typically, I wear these at Balloon Fiesta. We get one every year for the award ceremony.
Right.
I wear it for that one event, and then it goes home and hangs in the closet.
Yep.
So,
she's decided she's going to try and wear a different year every day.
Right. And I'm doing the same thing in the afternoons, and then, but obviously with Bobby living here locally, she is also not only wearing different shirts, but she is wearing different jackets as well. She's gone through, and I couldn't pack that many jackets into my suitcase and get everything.
You didn't bring
here.
33 years of shirts?
I didn't bring 33 years of shirts. No, I didn't. But I haven't got a 50 shirt yet. I notice you're wearing a 50 shirt now.
I am. Yes.
But you do all that work. You work here. You live here, obviously, and you work during the year on the AIBF staff. You have a lot to do with the online store, Balloon Stuff.
Right.
So I'm sure you got your hands on some of this stuff earlier, but.
Well, being on the staff, we have some opportunities to acquire some clothing that is not available to the general public.
Okay.
So that is the shirt that I have on tonight. It was available to the board and staff. So that we have apparel that identifies us as being part of the staff type of thing.
Well, I have
there it is right there.
Yeah. Well, we've got the logo on our jackets, and I have a pin that says I'm on the staff. So where's my 50 shirt?
Well, yeah.
Come on. I'm just giving you a hard time.
I know you are.
We all have more balloon shirts and jackets than we could ever possibly wear the rest of our lifetime, I think.
That's it. We would have to, like you said, basically a jacket and a shirt. And so, that's what Bobby's going to do all week is she's going to try and match the shirt with the jacket.
Yeah, that's what she was telling me.
Yeah.
And so she's wearing a retro jacket and shirt, ideally from the same year each afternoon. So
I think 98 is coming up tomorrow.
Ah, okay. I don't have mine planned. I picked about 6 or 7 out, one for every afternoon. I actually had one on this morning, which was it was purple because it matched this year's jackets. And so I chose to wear that one this morning, and that was from back in 2007. Most of the others are newer than that. I don't have clothes that are generally 20 years old in my closet, but I do have a selection of ballooning shirts that go back a number of years. So anyway, having some fun. And I know a lot of the balloon teams, prior to actually leaving to travel here to Albuquerque, a lot of balloon teams were posting on social media that they had their own special shirts made for their balloon teams and their crews that have the 50 logo and celebrate 50 years here at Balloon Fiesta, but are more directly tied to their individual balloon teams. They're not official Fiesta apparel, but just something that their teams have done. So there's a lot of new apparel, new 50 apparel out there.
There's been a lot of people that have picked up on that. I've noticed more crews with that stuff just out here today.
Yeah.
The other thing that is great for this year is, we talked about this morning, the very first posters at that very first gathering in 1972, we put up the Roadrunner and the Coyote from the Looney Tunes, Warner Brothers group there, and we made those posters, and the best I can determine, we gave them basically just to the pilots. And so that very first time we had the Roadrunner and Coyote, and now 50 years later, the plan was to bring them back. And so we started that with the posters 5 years ago with the Roadrunner and the Coyote, and there's been this story being told all through that, culminating in the 5th of the 5-part series of posters, and Bugs and Daffy and all the other characters have joined the Roadrunner and the Coyote at a very fun family gathering type of thing here at Balloon Fiesta. To go along with that, we have worked with Craig Claussen and the Chuck Jones Center for Creativity. Chuck Jones was one of the original animators, directors, producers.
For Looney Tunes. He did a lot of those characters.
He did. When you still watch those, you'll see directed by, produced by, animated by Chuck Jones. Craig is Chuck's grandson, and so manages that studio and all of those characters. So we've been working closely with them for like 5 or 6 years now. In addition to the posters, we were able to produce some very special T-shirts as well. So you'll see a number of the groups around as well. The pilots got a Daffy Duck design. The Navigators got a Tweety Bird. The merchandise folks got Taz. The sponsor folks got Marvin the Martian. And there are a couple of those shirts now that are available for sale in the merchandise tents. There is Gossamer, which is that big orange guy there as well. And then there is a balloon design that has the Roadrunner and Coyote and a few of the other characters on it as well. So there are some character T-shirts that are available this year. So just one more in that line of things that is available for the 50 anniversary.
Well, and we also talked this morning, what I remember about the relationship between Balloon Fiesta and the Chuck Jones, what was then the Chuck Jones studio, was that there were a number of years when the balloon team chase flags were sponsored by, and they would have a Coyote Roadrunner scene typically on the chase flag along with the Chuck Jones studio name. And I have a couple of those flags back from the years when I was a participating pilot here in my early years at Balloon Fiesta, and you were telling me that they brought back. We've brought back a lot of things in sort of a retro celebration of our 50-year history, and you were telling me they brought back chase flags this year.
They did, and actually about 5 minutes ago, we had a really cool shot of the brand new chase flag for this year.
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, we were talking about something totally different.
Yeah.
And I saw that chase flag up, and so it was really nice to see that.
I have to watch for that then.
Yeah, and we should also go ahead and point out that Craig, the grandson of Chuck, has brought over a little pop-up gallery over there on Main Street. So if you're here on the field, just a little bit, basically behind, just a little north, there's the chase flag. You can kind of see the balloon blowing away in the side.
Yeah,
it's the one on the left.
Yeah,
and is that the official chase flag? Yeah, it's nice and thin because it's light. But the Roadrunner and the Coyote are down there on the bottom of that chase flag.
I got you.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Very good. So as I said earlier, any pilot out there who doesn't want to keep their chase flag, come see me. We'll make a deal for a couple of announcer pins or something. Yeah.
So I was just saying, there is a gallery over there where a number of Chuck Jones artwork is available for sale over there, from small prints to large prints. I was looking over there yesterday. One of the first drawings of the Roadrunner and of the Coyote is over there. And so you see how that Roadrunner evolved from those early drawings. And they were telling me it was like 4 or 5 years worth of drawings to get to where he looks today.
Wow. Well, and I don't want to give it away, but I will say when you're watching the drone show tonight, there is a Coyote Roadrunner moment
in there
in the show. So watch for that. Just watch for it. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but pay attention. You'll see there's a tribute to the Roadrunner and Coyote in our drone show this evening.
So we've seen a number of shots on the field of flags and other things blowing on here.
Blowing.
I'm watching the powwow that's going on over here to our right.
Oh my goodness!
Inside.
Yeah, there's a whole.
There's a whole slew of balloon
officials.
Officials over there.
Has moved up onto the tower.
I see the balloonmeister, the assistant balloonmeister, the weather guy.
Brad Tiemeyer, our weather guru, is in there.
Yep, and a couple of other weather
Sam
folks
Parks,
in there.
Is that Sam in there? I think it is.
They were waiting on Sam, I think. So, so they're taking a good look at what's going on here.
Yeah.
So we'll just continue to kind of keep our eye on that. The flag is still yellow, but there's the flags flying around the field.
Yeah, there's some steady wind around, and anyone who knows anything about ballooning is a condition that is not unbearable, but it can be difficult to deal with, and especially in circumstances like a balloon glow where we're trying to essentially tether the balloons or tie them to the ground and keep them on the ground. It's one thing to launch a balloon and fly in some wind and then land in wind. It's another thing entirely. You put a whole lot more stress on a balloon system if you inflate it and then restrict it to the ground, working against the wind that's working against the balloon. So it's a consideration that has to be looked at very carefully, and that's what the folks in on the other side of the glass wall that you can't see from us, and I'm sure that's part of what they're discussing right now. We also, looking down on the field, you can see off at the distance there at the north end of the field some kites that are flying. And as a general rule, if kites are in the sky, that's usually not a good sign for, there's another chase flag right there on the fire engine. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I got to get my hands on one of those. That would be neat. But I would say when kites are flying, that generally is not a
good sign,
for
especially
balloons.
for a glow.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, because the basket stays on the ground, you've, in effect, just put up this huge sail that wind is just going to blow against and go from there. We were talking about the Balloon Museum. There it is in the background.
Yeah, yeah.
And so kind of the side there. And right off on the left side, that's the grand hall there where lots of replicas of record envelopes and gondolas.
A lot of the actual gondolas.
Some of the actual gondolas and the envelopes, of course.
The envelopes
they tend to not
largely,
survive.
Yeah, they're typically replicas, but the gondolas in many cases are the real thing. And and you can go over there, and if you get tired of hearing our voices here, you can go to the museum and listen to us.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
Yeah, we keep saying different things over here. It's the same track over there over and over again.
But typically you only go over there and hear it once.
Right.
So it's not like,
So
that was fun, though. We did that, months ago?
Months ago,
You were here in Albuquerque, and I was working from my home studio in Louisiana, and we did some sample tracks of typically the type of jargon, jawing, chatting, whatever you want to call it, that we would normally be doing as we are right now.
Yep.
And recorded that for the museum, and then they cut it all together, and or maybe you did all that. I don't know.
No, we let the museum do that.
The museum did it? Okay, well, they put it all together and mixed it with some other effects to create a very nice display. But
and that's what's causing all those winds. You see those clouds and the activity that is happening.
And from my point of view, I certainly have no inside knowledge, and I am not a weather person, but it is obvious that the clouds are thickening, and that usually, too, is not a good sign.
Yes. So we'll see what continues to happen along those lines as we continue to just kind of wait this out.
I just happened to look up and notice that there's a jet flying way up there and leaving a very nice contrail across the sky this evening. Not that has anything to do with what we're doing. It's just
anything at all.
Just kind of hanging out and looked up and went, wow, that's kind of neat. Actually, it reminded me of a scene from the movie The Right Stuff, if you go back years ago, when they were talking about breaking the sound barrier and flying over Tehachapi in California. it was fun when the movie finally came out, because prior to that, I had actually moved out and lived in California for a few years. So I had driven through the Tehachapi Pass on my way, moving from Texas out to California. And so when I started hearing these names come up in the movie, I thought, oh, I know where that is. And so that was because a lot of people had, what the heck is Tehachapi? Well, it is a high mountain pass in the lower desert there of California, out toward Barstow and where Edwards Air Force Base is. So anyway, and there goes another jet the other way. So hey, if you want to see some aerial activity, just look overhead and enjoy the passenger jets that are flying overhead, leaving some contrails
Actually,
in the
I'm
sky.
enjoying the light coming around these clouds and the shots that we're getting. It's going to be,
We have a crack crew. We're told now that flight was going from New York to San Diego, did he say? Steve?
Yes, yeah.
JFK to San Diego. One of our crew looked it up on an app and identified.
Well, that's one of those Siri, what's above me?
Yeah, identified the actual flight. So, and I could just imagine up there, there's the captain going, ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain. If you look down over the left side of the aircraft now,
There's the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta.
Oh, sometimes we have too much fun up here.
We do. Good time to kind of remind folks that this is really a great time to go ahead and do some shopping over there. We talked earlier this morning about the 50th merchandise selling out quickly. They're doing gangbuster business over there. Stuff is going fast.
And 50 stuff is not going to be around for a fire sale or a closeout at the end of the week. That stuff is selling out.
Yep.
We may have some news on tonight's activity. I'll let you have a chat with our balloon meister, and I'll fill time, as it were. I'm getting the stretch sign from our producer. Actually, in the truck I'm not, but I'm just kind of making that up. Never let the facts stand in the way of a good story. But yeah, Art is talking with our balloon meister for this evening and getting an update on what our plans are. They've apparently come to some sort of a decision relative to the wind and tonight's Twilight Twinkle Glow. This is the first, of course, of 5 evening programs we have planned tonight, tomorrow night. And then we're off Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday nights. Then we come back, of course, on Thursday and Friday. We do our Special Shapes rodeos in the morning and glowdeos in the evening. And then again, we have a final Night Magic Glow on the last Saturday night. So 5 evening activities all planned as part of the 50th Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, powered by ExxonMobil, as is Balloon Fiesta Live, where you are, either watching or listening to us out on the field. So you have some news for us?
I do, and it is going to be too fast to do a full-blown glow tonight.
Okay.
However, we are still about 20 minutes away from official sundown. Forecasts are that it should calm down at sundown. It might not tonight.
Okay.
So we're going to wait until sundown and see what happens at that point.
Okay.
And if it does calm down a little bit for us, we may be able to do a candlestick glow tonight as well.
Okay.
We still are planning on the drone show. We are still planning on our fireworks tonight. Team Fast Tracks has canceled their 7:30 jump.
Okay.
So we will see them tomorrow here at Balloon Fiesta. And so we're going to kind of hang out for another 20 minutes or so and see what happens as we just kind of wait through this. And so we can continue to just make stuff up as we go through.
Well, we don't have to entirely make things up because
we know what we're talking about.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but
we sound like we know what we're talking
we
about.
Pretend
Will you buy
we know
that
what
one?
we're talking about. Yeah, I'll buy that one. Steve Howard says there are 3 drive-in theaters in Oregon. They are in La Grande, Newburgh, and Dallas, Oregon. So if you want to go to a drive-in theater, Donna Beck, good evening, Glen and Art. There's a couple of drive-ins here in Ohio. So the drive-in theater apparently is not entirely dead. There are drive-through theaters in Atlanta, Georgia, Tampa, Florida, and Northfield, New Hampshire, we're being told. So, yeah, Jillian Danielson. Hi, Jillian. How are you? So, yeah, there are still some drive-in theaters around in case you want to go catch a movie.
Sure. We were talking about that there are 3 left in the state of New Mexico.
And those being
one of them is in Las Vegas,
New Mexico. Right.
Of course, the sponsor.
And of course, our crack audience began to tell us all about
all the other places there are still drive-ins.
All across the country, yes.
Yeah. I like the ones that continually show closed for the winter.
Well, in some parts of this country, winters are very long. They are very long.
Yeah, they are. And, you know, unfortunately, what happens is they put that marquee up, and, of course, then they never come back at the end of the winter.
Right.
And everything just kind of stays there, and depending on the weather and everything else, the thing just kind of eventually deteriorates. Nobody ever seems to go back and truly tear it down.
Right.
And then finally it does.
Yeah.
It does happen.
It's kind of like some of us, we just sort of get old and decrepit and
fade away.
Fade away.
Hey, so we just spent a lot of time talking about the Looney Tunes characters and the Warner Brothers and the Chuck Jones Center for Creativity, and we mentioned Craig Claussen.
And we have a special guest.
He must have heard us talking about him, and so came running right over. Hi, Craig. How are you?
You know, I'm doing great. I did hear you talking about my grandfather's Roadrunner and Coyote creations, and I had to race across the field and come join you guys and celebrate what's going on here on the 50th. And it's great to see Roadrunner and Coyote back here at home.
I was asking Art this morning, what can you tell us about how did that relationship with your grandfather first get started between Balloon Fiesta and Chuck Jones as the artist?
So, I mean, originally, obviously, Sid. Now, I know the story goes that he didn't have permission. I do believe that he actually did get permission from Warner Brothers.
Okay.
But they did have the caveat that he couldn't sell the balloon with the characters on it, which is now that 50 years later, when Peter and Barbara came to me and said, can we recreate this? This was like 8 months ago. And I said, all right, let's go ahead and do that. But again, you're not going to be able to sell it. There can't be any commercial benefit of this. But let's go ahead and make a piece of artwork that will fly through the air. And that's how it all came about. But the Warner Brothers characters, I mean, there is a long tie of Roadrunner here. Obviously, it's the state bird.
Right.
Now,
right.
I didn't know all of this until I went to the grand opening of the Chuck Jones Gallery in Santa Fe when my grandfather was there in 1993. And, you know, they had the mayor, they had everybody there. And he said, he goes, you know, it's a tie-in that probably most of you don't know, that in 1912, New Mexico became a state.
Yes.
In 1912, I became a human being. That's what
wow.
he said. So he was born in that.
What
he
a
said,
connection.
Now, the Roadrunner became the state bird in 1949. My first Roadrunner and Coyote cartoon, 1949, Fast and Furious.
No,
Wow.
you're kidding.
That was the way Chuck thought. He saw tie-ins. He loved coming out here and painting and drawing. Now, not to make anybody upset that comes from the Northwest, but he said, you go to the Northwest, it's all one color. It's all green. You come here, you've got colors that you can paint and enjoy. So he loved coming to the Southwest, going to Santa Fe, coming to Albuquerque. So there's a long history of Chuck here. When we opened the gallery, it really was because Chuck loved coming here.
Oh, great.
And so a long history of that.
What an amazing creative mind he must have had to have created all of those. I mean, I grew up with those characters as a kid growing up in the 50s, you know, Looney Tunes with Bugs Bunny and Marvin the Martian and the Tasmanian Devil and all of that. I mean, those were Saturday morning staples, you know, for me as a child growing up that I still remember so fondly. And for that to have, where did that come from? Where was that inspiration?
You know, I heard him. I was able to travel with him a lot. I had 40 years with him before he passed away 20 years ago. And people would ask him, where did these come from? And he said, you know, like any great character comes from inside of me, you know, inside of you. And so, and he goes, you know, there's a little bit of every character in each of us. You know, that's why we resonate with him. But he said, you know, he's a little bit average, you know, with like Daffy Duck. You know, he makes huge mistakes like Wile E. Coyote, and he dreams of being Bugs Bunny. The guy, you know, he used to say that, you know, he'd wake up and dreaming of being Bugs Bunny, look in the mirror, and he'd see Daffy Duck. So that was his, you know, sort of the way he lived. But he said they were like children, and they, you know, he saw them that way. So I call them my uncles and aunts, but they kind of personify each of us. Each of us have a little bit of those characters, and it's why I think 90 years later, Chuck started with Warner Brothers basically 90 years ago, and those characters continue to thrive. And, you know, I'm so grateful that they're here again. Now, most people don't know, or many people don't know, that there's entire digital world going on around us right here. Elmer Fudd is downstairs right here. We've got Wile E. Coyote over near the media stand. We've got, and you know what, Wile E. Coyote now exists over at the Anderson Abruzzo Museum right behind us over here. And I don't know if anybody mentioned it, but I'm going to do
we have not talked about that.
I'm going to be doing a presentation tomorrow at 9 a.m. over there.
Okay.
And about Wile E. Coyote and the history. So I don't want to give away too many details.
Sure.
So, but there's a long history. And Chuck he was a creative genius. Created over 300 cartoons in his career, over 70 years. And did his last project the year before he passed away.
Well, and as a somewhat of a student of that and of voice acting, I'm kind of curious, how did he and Mel Blanc hook up for that relationship? Because Mel Blanc was the voice of so many of the characters that your grandfather, that Chuck created.
So Mel and a few others, like June Foray and Stan Freberg, who did some of the other voices, they had a contract with Warner Brothers, particularly Mel, and he had the contract that said he's the only one who ever got credit. So that was a good little thing to do. Yeah, so he's the only one who got
kind of like a no-trade deal.
Yeah, but he was doing other things in Hollywood at the time, and so he would come in, and a 6-minute film would take between 6 and 9 months to create, which think about that, what it would take to plan and animate. And so when the voices were done, the dialogue sheets would all be done, and Mel would come in, and Chuck or the director, like Chris Freeling or Bob Clampett or Bob McKimson, would direct the voice artists, and they'd both hold scripts. And when Chuck did it, he would hold one, like if Daffy and Bugs were having their conversation, then Chuck would do one and they'd record Mel on the other, and then they'd switch sides, so the cadence was all there. So oftentimes the recording of an entire 6-minute cartoon would take half an hour.
Wow.
But Mel was such a practiced professional that he would be able to nail it. And oftentimes with Chuck, it was a one take.
Wow.
So imagine that it was like, here's the way I want it. And June Foray came in after she worked at Disney and did Witch Hazel. And she said that when Chuck directed and said, this is the way I want it, do this, and then she would deliver and say, okay, do you want another take? He goes, no, you've nailed it. That's it. That's all we need to do.
Wow.
Way different than Disney, where you'd go 50 takes and splice it together like they do today. But you know, he and Mel worked together for 30 years.
I've worked with directors who have that famous saying, that was perfect, now let's do it again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we've all done that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Guilty of that from the director's side myself, actually.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you mentioned the new Roadrunner Coyote balloon. Barbara Fricke, Peter Cuneo worked with you to be able to produce that, and they flew it officially for the first time yesterday. And you were in the basket.
I was. So I showed up yesterday morning just to celebrate 50 years and hear all the stories of how it all began. And I went over and I was wearing my Bugs Bunny shirt, which seemed appropriate at the time. And literally 3 minutes before they were going to lift off, everybody else, and they have that Acme safe, the Acme company safe that hangs from the bottom. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
They said, and Peter goes, "You want to go?" I'm like, why, of course I want to go. Jump in the basket and off we went. It was the most spectacular ride. And I tell you what, they are consummate professionals. Barbara is incredible the way that they were, from what I understand, one of 6 of the 13 that actually landed on the field. It was the most smooth landing I've ever experienced. And I've only been up maybe a dozen times, but it was the most beautiful day watching all those balloons come around. And I didn't quite understand the mechanics of height and watching and down and west and east and go this way, and they just nailed it. So it was spectacular. And watching Roadrunner and Coyote above me the whole time, it was just, I was getting video and I'm like, magical. That's that's the best word.
Well, it was kind of fun. Of course, we did a live show out there yesterday morning. And so we were over there by Barbara. She was in the basket by herself, going up, leaving the safe alone, brought out the little rocket fireworks piece there as well, talked about it, etc. Went on down the line a little bit, then turned around back. Peter's in the basket with Barbara, and there's this bright orange shirt in there as well, and I had to do a double take to see that it was you.
Yep.
So that was great.
That was a great surprise to be able to get out and enjoy that inaugural flight officially. And they did a great job and recreated it. The hand stitching, all the cutting that they did. I heard lots of the story.
You heard the story
through
about
the process.
Right.
And
Actually, the cartoons were actually the character guys. That part of the balloon was actually constructed by Bert and Joni Padelt back in Philadelphia.
Okay. Yeah.
So we sent all the designs back there. They built those pieces while Barbara was building the rest of the balloon here, and then Bert and Joni sent them here. They sewed all the pieces together before we went out. Set it up and flew
amazing
it.
stitching, character lines. They had laid down black for the characters and then cut the insides of the black out so the lines were perfectly cut.
It's all inlay as opposed to applique over
and
the top.
they are, although they're not exactly today's Coyote and Roadrunner, they're perfectly done for 50 years ago, and we worked together on fabric selections and getting the colors as close to the characters as possible. But Chuck would be so pleased to watch the Roadrunner and Coyote flying across Albuquerque again.
Well, I know Barbara and Peter and actually the entire crew is really excited when we got brought in on that project as we as all worked together to help put that together. And so really exciting on our part. And I got a chance to fly the balloon in the test phase.
Nice.
So it was, it was a great fun as well.
The big secret.
The big secret.
When the four of them got on the call with me and they're like, you can't tell anybody.
Right.
And so all the board members are like, why didn't you tell me?
Yeah.
Because you would tell everybody else. I know you.
Yeah.
Right.
When they told the crew, because we were about to have to start working with it, we were kind of all sworn to secrecy as well.
Yeah.
And then to actually take it out of town where we thought it might not be seen,
Of
or
course.
so far out on the West Mesa that no one could see us as well. To try and get 10
it was
hours.
great.
It was great.
Well, I don't. You've been by to see us at the Chuck Jones Gallery pop-up
Right, I was
down
gonna ask you
here,
about
down
that.
next to the media tent. And I will say the reception of everybody to welcome us here has been so gracious, both from the board, the attendees, all of you guys, to say, welcome to Chuck Jones' family and the rest of the crew here. So grateful to everybody in Albuquerque to have
How's
us
the
here.
pin reception? Because you guys made a pin for the first time.
We did. I brought one each for you guys.
Uh-oh.
Here you go. I'm gonna reach across.
Oh my gosh.
Pepe Le Pew. It was taken from a
Awesome. Look at
limited
that.
edition that Chuck actually designed in the late 90s.
Uh-huh.
There were two that were done. And they're both on display over, I don't know if you can get the camera on that.
I'm
but
gonna
when you
pop
go over
mine out
there,
of the
it's Pepe Le
plastic
Pew.
here.
And I worked with a couple of board members, including Rod and Terry May, who've been friends for nearly 30 years, board members, on the Roadrunner Coyote image, as well as the Pepe Le Pew image. And there were certain things that we had to get right. On the
Yes.
Roadrunner Coyote,
Right.
now Chuck being the gag man that he was,
Uh-huh.
the original image of the Roadrunner Coyote where Coyote is in the balloon, that, you've got the Pepe up.
Yeah.
Well,
got the pin
and when
up
we
there.
did this, that Rod said that he absolutely wasn't him, that they said, it's really not a good thing for people to hold on to ropes when you ascend, so we'd like you to put balloons on him. So
there
we
you
did, that was kind of a direction from afar. So it makes it a little safer for everybody.
Sure. How's been the response to the pop-up gallery over there and the pins and things?
Well, my associate Michael over there, I don't think has taken a break in any session so far, and people come by and like, Chuck Jones? Oh my gosh, look at this! And there's probably 150 or 200 works of art over there, anywhere
Fabulous
from
stuff.
original Roadrunner and Coyote things to cartoon or actual cells that were under the camera to prints for these Pepe and the Roadrunner Coyote things. So, and the pins are available over there as well. It's the only place, first pin we've ever done.
Right.
And it actually is a commemorative 50th. So you'll have to find the little nod to 50 in that one. That we
I'll have
made a
to go look.
modification to it.
Have to
Yeah.
look.
Yeah, but it's
Awesome.
been great.
Craig Claussen with the Chuck Jones Center for Creativity. I have to think
Yes,
through that one. Yeah.
I know.
And
Yeah.
thank you very much for working with us, coming over and chatting with us. We love having the characters here over the last few years and hope that we can continue that partnership moving forward.
I don't think I'm breaking any secrets that actually we are going to continue. And
Excellent.
Daniel Killen, one of our artists, has done the last 5 years
posters,
for
yes.
the works of art that we finally came to we were asked, and Daniel agreed, to continue the tradition of the poster series with a whole new storyline starting next year.
So I had not heard that. That's great.
Was I not supposed to say anything? Another secret,
Another secret
that I have
revealed.
given out. It's a terrible thing.
Daniel's been a great artist.
But we're
going
to continue to expand everything that's going on here together. So we look forward to years to come.
Well, and you heard it here first.
I have to say it's an honor to have a chance to chat with you, and I've never had the opportunity to meet your grandfather. But I want to say thank you for what a wonderful part of my childhood that I enjoyed because of his creativity. Those characters resonate with me. At near 70 years old now, they were, as I said, a Saturday morning staple for me as a kid that I will never, ever forget. And those characters are as alive today as they were then.
Well, I'm sure he is very pleased to hear that from you.
I hope
that he's got another fan. I appreciate the words for sure. And thank you for having me out.
You bet, Craig.
Thanks for coming
I'll
over.
come back later in the week and beg your ear
You're
some
welcome.
more.
You're welcome anytime.
You
All
bet.
right.
Great.
Thank you.
Good talking to you.
Have a good
Thanks
rest of
again.
the evening. Let's hope they get going soon. That'd be great.
Let's hope so.
We've
right.
hit the
Thanks so much.
guys.
Yeah, we've hit the sundown time, so we're about to see what's going on here. But that's great about the partnership continuing on. You heard it here first.
Yeah, you heard it here first on Balloon Fiesta Live. Yeah, see, we're more than just a lot of hot air.
Yeah, that's good deal here.
Get the
That's
latest
good
news and information right here.
right here as well. So it's we've just hit the sundown part, and
Yes.
so this is the time when Mother Nature is supposed to calm down and start going to sleep.
Okay.
And so I know that looks like we're having another powwow back there. Yeah, back behind us
I think
now.
they're right behind. I think if you could see through the backdrop here.
They'd be right back
They'd be
there.
right there.
So we should be getting an update here very soon on what the rest of the evening is going to look like. Again, if you've just tuned in for the America's Challenge gas balloon race, we have postponed that because of the weather in the area. They did that actually earlier this afternoon, anticipating that this might come in. And of course, it's not only the weather here, but the weather downrange as well. And so we'll see what happens with that. The America's Challenge briefing, next briefing, is at noon tomorrow. So they are tentatively scheduled to do the America's Challenge race tomorrow night. Again, inflation sometime mid-afternoon with a launch about 6 o'clock. We were scheduled to have Fast Tracks jump again at 7:30 tonight. We have canceled that because of the gusty winds aloft. We're waiting word on whether we're going to do some sort of candlestick glow tonight or not. We're still planning on fireworks, and we're still planning on our drone show as well.
Yeah. Well,
So we'll see what happens with that.
I'm just looking around the field as you were talking at some of the guys that are, doing a little bit of candlestick show on their own.
Right.
And the flames, which normally are quite vertical, are kind of
20 feet tall, and they're
they're about
right
2 feet tall, and then they burn the eyelids off people who are 5 feet away.
5 feet away there.
So there's you can see quite an effect on the wind, although there are some folks down there that are just having a little fun on their burners, doing their own sort of candlestick thing.
Well, you've set the basket up, get anticipation of something going on.
And you think you're going to do a glow tonight, and so,
Yep.
and
We'll see what happens, but like I said, they're making, I think, about to make some sort of final decision here in the next few minutes, and as soon as they do, we will bring it to you.
Absolutely. We will let people know. Speaking of people, I'm just going to take a wee peek at my phone feed here and see what, if anything, was being... Oh, Jenny Keener. Hi, Jenny. Says hello. They're still on the drive-in theater thing on the online chat. Lisa Fernandez, we have a drive-in in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee. It looks like that is.
A lot of conversations on the YouTube side about how, as you expressed, the growing up with the Chuck Jones characters, and that being a part of their life.
Absolutely. I mean, it was every Saturday morning, you tuned in, I think it was like for an hour to watch Looney Tunes, and you saw, the Bugs Bunny cartoons, there was, Elmer Fudd, there was the Tasmanian Devil, Marvin the Martian, killed the wabbit, the whole 9 yards. But honestly, that and I guess, Captain Kangaroo, which the kids don't have, Sesame Street came along for the later generations.
Right.
But I was part of that
Mr.
generation
Green
born in the
Jeans.
50s that grew up with Captain Kangaroo and Mr. Green Jeans.
Right. I
And
remember
all
those.
of that, that's all very vivid in my memory of my childhood.
Yep.
And Chuck Jones characters absolutely right there, and they resonate. I mean, I'll sit now and watch, a good Bugs Bunny cartoon or something if it comes on and catches my eye.
And it's always, I guess I never knew. I watched all those. I didn't pay attention to the credits.
No,
I
had no clue.
But now when you watch him and you see Chuck's name there and all those other names and even some of the voices and stuff that did different things in there, you kind of go, oh, wow.
Well, yeah.
It all means something now.
It
all
does.
ties it back together.
I don't remember. It was probably when I got into radio and started doing some voice acting and voiceover work that I began to have a recognition of Mel Blanc and what an incredible talent he was, and all the voices that he did.
All those voices.
I can't imagine, and then that's when I too began. I think really it was when I first came out here and saw one of those Chuck Jones flags, chase flags I was talking about earlier. That was probably the first time I ever realized and attached a real person to those characters that someone created and drew those characters.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish, as I had just said, it would have been such an honor to have met Mr. Jones and have been able to tell him how much those characters meant to me in my childhood, and so what an amazing conversation. Yeah, and I've got to get down and get by the booth this week while I'm here.
Yeah, there's some incredible artwork in there. Hey, there's a budding balloonist in the basket there. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. For those of you here on the field, because the balloonists are standing and waiting as we are, all the balloonists were given trading cards this year here at Balloon Fiesta.
That's right.
And so now would be a great time to go around and see about collecting the trading cards, or as they're doing in that basket there,
get
your picture taken in the basket.
Take some selfies.
Yeah. And or have someone take your picture. Of course, you can always just start picnicking like that crew is doing.
Yeah, just go ahead and do a little tailgating while you're out tonight. I mean, it's a nice evening out, other than for the wind. And
but it's still pretty. I mean, it's not cold.
No, I was just about to say that. It's still unseasonably warm. I mean, we're feeling the breeze here on the roof a little bit more than perhaps those on the ground. But even so, we've just got a light fleece on, and it's quite comfortable out this evening. A lot of folks down there on the field are in shirt sleeves. And, just having a nice evening out while we try to see what's going to happen with our Twilight Twinkle glow.
Yep. So we just checked. The meeting is still going on behind us.
Okay.
They're watching those clouds to see what's really happening behind us.
Yeah.
Because that's where that is all happening.
That first group has sort of moved over us. They've kind of come from behind and moved over us, and they're now down more on the north end of the field. So, yeah.
So we are, again, if you just joined us or waiting for us to tell you what's going on and what's happening with the balloons and things, we're basically sitting here on hold. The yellow flag is up, which means we're on hold. We are continuing to take a look and see if the weather and the winds are dissipating, staying the same, or getting stronger. We're hopeful that they will dissipate here shortly and are at least trending that way, that we can pull off a candlestick glow for you tonight. And we will not be able to do a full balloon glow with envelopes up. The winds will not calm down that fast that soon.
I'm sorry, I was just talking with the truck. You said we are going to cancel the candlestick or not?
We have not decided whether to or not.
Oh, we've not decided yet. Okay.
We're not going to stand
I thought
up.
You had
No, we're not going to stand up fabric. We're not going to put any fabric up tonight,
right.
So we won't stand the balloons up. We actually said that a while ago.
Yes.
We're waiting to see what happens with these winds, whether we're going to be able to safely do a candlestick or not.
Okay.
Our fast track jump that was scheduled at 7:30 has been canceled for tonight. They obviously just about as susceptible to the wind conditions as our balloons, and with some cases even more so.
Yeah.
Especially with those pyrotechnics up there. We don't need to be, because that's what their 7:30 jump is. 35 pounds of fireworks on each leg.
Yes.
And getting the winds blowing around. So, yeah, so they will not be jumping tonight.
So what impact, if any, does the wind have on the drones? Any idea? I'm not a drone person. I don't delve in that field.
So I actually talked to the drone company this morning and asked that very specific question. So they can still fly and do the show in 15 to 20, I don't know if he said miles per hour or knots, but 15 to 20 mile an hour winds. And so we're probably on the edge of that as well.
All right.
But again, that was scheduled for 7:45 tonight. And then the fireworks, of course, they can shoot those off in winds up to 35 or 40 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So there's not an issue with those.
And sometimes when we have evenings like this where some of the evening events get canceled, we have in the past been able to move the fireworks up a little earlier into the evening, which is always an option too, depending on, obviously if the drone show is going to go on time, then we would hold the fireworks for their normal time as well. But should the winds get up to where perhaps we had to cancel the drone show, then maybe they would look at moving fireworks up. I don't know.
Well, and I think what we will do, this is news to the truck, the production truck.
Okay, pay attention down
there.
there.
If we were to have to cancel the drone show tonight, we recorded it this morning. And so I think we will
might play it back.
We'll play back the recording of that for the folks on the stream. The folks on the field here
won't be able to see it
unless they happen to be by the two video walls there.
Well, or pick up your phone and log on to Facebook or YouTube and watch the feed there. You can see it.
60,000 people all hitting the cell tower trying to stream video.
Let's just make the 50th crash the internet, folks. Why not?
we do that here on the field many times already. So
why not?
Yeah.
Someone's asking, Caroline Wells asking, no glow tonight? No, we haven't decided yet. We will not stand the balloons up, but as you just heard Art saying, we're still considering the possibility of a candlestick glow, which is basically an open flame glow without the envelopes.
So hello, South Carolina. Good to see you there, Paul.
Terry Lindsay watching from, I think, Longview, Texas. Dustin Howell watching from at home in Louisiana.
Wayne McFarland from Virginia wanting to say hi to Captain Jack, Gilbert Martin, Mark Miller, all of the rest of the ballooning buddies he has out here.
Here's Emily Tyson says, hello from the hotel room. We are exhausted and decided to call it a night, so we are ready for a full day tomorrow. Well,
that's a good plan.
That's a good plan, Emily.
That's
well
a really
done,
good plan.
Yeah, I would probably be right there with you. I had the choice. Dan Drogi watching. Hi, Dan. How are you, my friend? He's out of Longview, Texas.
And, of course, this morning's show, as well as yesterday's show, already archived and available on balloonfiesta.com. Just go under this year's event and click on Balloon Fiesta Live. You'll be able to see those, as well as all of the shows from the past 5 years, because this is year 6 for Balloon Fiesta Live. You can binge more than 200 hours worth of Balloon Fiesta Live.
I would get tired of listening to you and me after that, all of that. But yeah, it is there.
It's there.
Watch it in Travis Mathis saying hello again. Travis has been online every time we've been online.
If you can't sleep sometime, just
if you have insomnia, then
that'll take care of it.
Colby Jones watching.
We got folks in the RV lot that are watching us as well. They're here
good.
from El Paso. Hey, that's another thing we haven't talked about today. Not only are we on the balloonfiesta.com webpage, our YouTube channel, and our Facebook channel.
We have our own TV station.
We do. We broadcast over channel 28, low-power TV. Gets about 4 miles or so around the park. So if you're here in the RV lot or anywhere close, kick on the over-the-air TV and watch us on channel 28. And if you are in the Albuquerque Comcast area as well, we are on Community Access, channel 27. And we're there with all of our shows as well. So on cable, over the air, online, you can find us lots and lots of different places. So lots of folks hanging out here tonight, waiting to see what happens. You can see the yellow flag is still up and, unfortunately, still flapping away. People are starting to turn on their winky, blinky, twinky lights.
Their what?
Their winky, blinky, twinky. It is a Twilight Twinkle glow night.
Now, here's an interesting comment. Jessica Allen Warren says, watching from the plane on the way there. See you soon, Glen Moyer. Your cousins are with, I think they're saying are with us. Yeah, my cousins are.
That are coming in.
Yeah, they're flying in tonight and are going to come out tomorrow morning. And
so they don't need the pilot to say, if you look down out the left.
No, they're apparently watching online on a tablet or something, sitting there in their with
sitting in the plane.
Their seat back, is probably stretched out, and the tray table is laid out, and they're having a drink and watching Balloon Fiesta Live on their airplane tonight. So how cool is that?
So I see other folks are watching as well from Kaufman, Texas, from Rio Rancho, New Mexico. And let's see. Oh, we're supposed to say hi to Billy as well.
Oh, Billy.
I thought I was about to get some news there. But at least we look at that shot there with the burners going off and how it lights everything up.
Everybody's enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
Was just
it's a fun night to be here, even if we aren't getting a balloon glow off.
Seeing what looked to be, oh my gosh, where was this? Just got a news update, and I don't want to bring the mood down, but this is rather incredible. It says at least 129 people have been killed after a riot broke out at a football match. Now, that was in Indonesia. It's not anything local, but oh my gosh.
Gilbertsville, Pennsylvania checking in. Daytona Beach, Florida. So lots of folks checking in.
Adam Bull says, good morning from Bristol, UK. It is morning over there, as a matter of fact.
That's right.
Yeah,
we get caught up in where we are in Albuquerque in the Mountain Time Zone, and we talk about good morning and good evening and all of those types of things, forgetting that it's a total different time of day in other parts of the world.
Yeah, I know it well because I was just over in the UK for 2 weeks, where it was a 6-hour time difference from my home in Louisiana, 7 hours difference here. So when it's 6 p.m. in the evening here, it's 1 a.m. in the morning over there. So, yeah, that gentleman just saying good morning from Bristol in the UK, where it is in the wee hours of the morning. In fact, strangely enough, I keep a watch with both local time and UK time on it, and it is 10 after 2 in the morning over in the UK. So good morning to anyone in England or Wales or Scotland or Northern Ireland and Ireland who may be watching us. We have Irish pilots here. We have a lot of British pilots here as well. So,
Joe Zamora's watching us from Las Cruces. Tim Perez says he'll be at Balloon Fiesta one of these days. Hopefully this week, Tim. Jessica's coming as well.
Terry Dillard is watching. Terry has had quite the adventure this week. He flies a balloon called Flip Flop Fantasies. It'll be in the special shapes. And he left Florida, lives in Florida. He and his wife, Deb, they live in Florida. They left early to get out ahead of the storm when it was originally forecast to come into the Panhandle up around Pensacola. And so they left early. They got all the way to Memphis, Tennessee, and then the storm had changed tracks. Ian was going across inland, and they operate a marina in that area. So they turned around from Memphis, Tennessee, went back home, partly because the marina that they manage, I think, is a home for a lot of elderly and retired citizens. And they kind of managed. They wanted to be there for their community, and well done them. They went back. They weathered the storm. Fortunately, they had only minor damage. And having weathered the storm, seeing there was not any major damage, they reloaded the balloon trailer and made it out to Albuquerque. They made it in earlier today, but Terry had phoned me while I was at the hotel and said they started watching us online this morning as they came under the Welcome to New Mexico sign that we all post on social media.
Right, when you get to New Mexico.
We're arriving in Albuquerque for Fiesta. And he just checked in there watching again tonight. He came out to the field and got checked in and said they were pretty tired. They took like an hour-and-a-half nap at Moriarty. And I've been keeping in touch with him because he's transporting some music gear for me that I purchased from a guy in Florida, and Terry was kind enough to bring it out here for me.
So live tracking on your delivery.
Yeah, so live tracking on my delivery. Then, of course, earlier this morning we talked about our friend Sean Askren, who was not nearly so lucky. Sean lost a vacation home on one of the islands there. He's here flying. I spoke to him earlier today. He called to say thank you for us mentioning him this morning. The bad news is they've now declared the island uninhabitable, so even if he could get away, they're not allowing anyone to get on the island to even see if there is anything to salvage. So it was a total loss.
A total loss.
And I think, and I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, I think he had taken some money that he received after his father had passed away not long ago, taken some of that money, invested it into this place in Florida, and now it's a complete loss. And it's really hit him hard. And he's having a difficult time, and he's a very good friend. I've known Sean for years in the ballooning sport. So our heart goes out to him. So a lot of balloonists are here from Florida and escaped damage, but there are many other friends who are having a real hard time from it and have lost significantly. So our thoughts and prayers with those folks as well.
So we continue to watch and monitor. The conversation continues to go on behind us. In the meantime, we have a number of pilots who are providing a little show to folks. We got a great shot here of a great crowd around that particular basket. One going off in the background there as well. Lots of activity things that you can do along Main Street. Get your shopping done, whether it's at the Chuck Jones pop-up gallery over there, the official merchandise tent, or even by Dos Equis. Oh, and you see the Ferris wheel back there?
I do.
That's a new addition to our fun zone, our kids' fun zone area.
I thought I saw kind of a little tilt-a-whirl in the shot this morning that were little hot air balloons, it looked like, little neon sort of balloons.
Yep, and those are balloon baskets, balloons with gondolas, so you're riding the gondola on the Ferris wheel.
Oh, how cool.
Sure.
There they are.
There you go, and you can see there. You can see the balloon there.
Hot air balloons.
Yep. All the way out, if you're here on the field, all the way out on the northeast corner of the field.
And now our audience is going to start telling us where all the hot air balloon Ferris wheels are around the country. and I say that only because I know there is one. When I think it was when I was announced for years, 25 years or so, the Lyle Eyes to the Skies Balloon Fest in Lyle, Illinois, driving somewhere through the Midwest. I want to say around the St. Louis area, I think, but might have been in Illinois. There was an amusement park that had a hot air balloon ride that was very visible as you drove by on the main interstate. Someone, I'm sure, will remember that and tell me where it is. I can't recall right now. But I know there are other hot air balloon themed amusement rides around the country, and now it's time for our audience to just jump right in there and tell us all about them.
There you go.
You know, move on from drive-in theaters to hot air balloon theme rides.
Or on the YouTube side, we are having people report what the local TV stations are saying. And I would just say you need to take what they say with a grain of salt. Because yesterday morning, after that commemorative tribute flight that we did, they had a picture of Jewel Cutter flying off in a brand new balloon on literally its maiden flight. And they announced that she was the daughter of a pilot who was here 50 years ago, and they were flying in a balloon that was here 50 years ago. So a 50-year-old balloon, and identifying Jewel as the daughter of the pilot. So they got the fact that it was a balloon.
Yeah,
right,
that part was right.
And that's about all.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and I can kind of say that about those guys because I used to work in the local TV media here. And so, yeah, be careful what you repeat from those guys.
Yeah, well, my favorite story about the media, and I was in the media as well. I spent years in radio and television and as a reporter, and I have a feel for the job they have to do. But one of my favorite stories was there was a balloon accident some years ago up in, I think, the Chicago area. And one of the newspaper reports quoted an eyewitness as saying, "I knew the balloon was in trouble because the flame kept going on and off. People, how do you fly a hot air balloon? You turn the flame on and off." But she knew that the balloon was in trouble.
Yeah,
because the flame was going on and off. So, yeah.
And there's all those stories about the balloon that did this crash landing when it was a perfectly calm landing. Just because it came down in a cul-de-sac is not a crash landing. That's a planned landing.
Or because it landed and then laid over on its side.
Right,
you know,
which happens as well.
All the time, yeah.
That's how we deflate them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
you lay them over.
Due respect to all my friends in the media, because I was one of you at one time. Still am to a certain extent. I'm in the print journalism business now.
Yep.
But yeah, sometimes take what you see on mass media reports with a large grain of salt.
There you go.
Just saying.
Just saying. Exactly. That's one of the a little self-promotion and brag here, I guess.
Yeah,
I'm going to take the advantage of that. You being a hot air balloon pilot for 30-some years, being in the media for 30-some years, I have the same credentials.
Right.
Ruth Lind, who's our reporter in the morning,
equally.
Very same.
Yep.
So just between the three of us, 90 years of broadcast, 90 years of ballooning. When you add in Kim Vesley, who is our America's Challenge expert, she has even more than that. with broadcast and ballooning. We have nearly 150 years of ballooning and broadcast experience between the four of us.
Well, and there is the thing that we're seeing comments that our audience are putting on our feed that they're hearing on the media. Folks, they don't have the access to the balloon officials that we have here at Balloon Fiesta Live.
Exactly.
So if anybody's going to get it right and get it to you first, it's going to be us.
It's going to be
it's
right here.
It's not going to be the mass media. Again, no offense intended, but they don't have. We have the officials meeting right behind us, and when they make a decision, they will come around the curtain and tell us what that decision is.
So some of that, of course, is because we have announced that we will not put fabric up and do a full-blown glow.
Right.
So we're I think being very clear about what we're trying to tell you is happening. There will not be fabric standing up
tonight.
But
that does not translate to the balloon glow has been canceled.
Exactly. Exactly.
And
that's the point we're trying to make.
If you're hearing that in mass media and then putting it in the comments on our feed, you're really doing a disservice to everyone who's watching Balloon Fiesta Live. So, yeah.
All right, enough about that.
So enough rant about that.
Yeah.
It's gotten dark. Have
I
you
was
noticed
just
that
thinking, all of a sudden,
I just
it has
looked out. Now I
definitely
can't
gotten
see.
dark out
There's
there.
no clouds and sky. Now it's just dark.
Yep. Still see a little bit of sky off to the west.
Actually, if I turn around and look to the west, yeah, you can still see a little bit of sky.
Well,
and
and
cloud
our
definition.
cameras obviously pick up.
Well, our cameras have much greater light sensitivity than our eyeballs do.
Right.
And so the scene looks much brighter on the feed than it actually does to us here in person.
But you can tell the difference when the burner goes off, how much of the ground really changes color, lights up that way. So
yeah, absolutely. You know, and I think, as we said earlier, it's so nice and pleasant out tonight. It's not cold. It's quite a beautiful evening.
There's the buses from Park and Ride. Good
Yeah.
time to mention that if you're going to use Park and Ride, it works on the weekends, Thursday and Friday as well, so it doesn't run Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but you do need to get your tickets in advance online.
Yeah.
And it's really inexpensive. Adults are only $22, which includes the price of admission. So it's an inexpensive bus ride to and from the park plus admission.
And the only advice I had from my cousins who are flying in tonight and are going to use the shuttle bus tomorrow morning was get there early and get on one of the very first buses that you can. There's a nice little silhouette. But the point I was making a few minutes ago is that it's quite a nice evening out, and the crowd certainly seems to be having a great evening. They're enjoying doing some shopping up and down Main Street with all the great vendors that we have on hand, out visiting with the balloons, and those few pilots that have been doing a little bit of their own candlestick show. And it's just a wonderful evening out, even though we have not had any kind of an organized activity going on for some time now.
All right. So speaking of getting the word directly from the balloon officials.
Yes, we have a decision.
We now have a decision from our system balloon meister and the rest of the team that is here. We are going to ask our pilots to continue to do an unorganized candlestick glow, which is kind of what they've been doing. So if they'd like to stand, keep their baskets up and hit those burners off and let people be able to get up close and see those kinds of pictures, we're going to be able to continue doing that for another few minutes or so, maybe 10 or 20.
Okay.
The drone show is still a go.
Okay.
So that will happen at 7:45 on time, directly at 7:45. And our fireworks are still a go, and they are scheduled at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
So it's 7:23 here now. So, and that would be about 15 plus 7, about 22 minutes.
Yeah.
We will start the drone show, and you'll be able to see that live here on Balloon Fiesta Live, as well as those of you who are here in the park. You will be able to see it in the sky as well.
And trust me,
and then the fireworks.
Yeah, those of you on the feed, you definitely want to stay online and watch that. It's a spectacular show. We got to see it for the first time this morning prior to going on the air. So absolutely, you want to be here, stay online, and stay tuned in and watch that show. It is really spectacular, and it's never been done here before. This is the first time. Well, this morning was the first time, but it's a brand new feature here at Balloon Fiesta.
And I think a hit. Based on the reaction of the crowd this morning.
Based on the oohs and the ahs we heard this morning, and I know all of us here on the rooftop studio really didn't know what to expect, and I think maybe our expectations were a little a little low, and I think we
not
were
expecting
all
too much,
and
pretty much all
blown away. It
Yep.
was really a great show.
Yeah, and sometimes we can hear the reaction of crowd to something that is happening on the field, and we definitely heard that this morning all through the drone show.
Yeah. I know the Balloonmeister said let's do an unorganized, but what do you think? Should we maybe see if we could get the candlestick guys that are up to maybe do an all burn or something? Just
Hey,
for
you know what? Let's try it.
Why not?
Let's try it.
Okay.
We'll see what we can make happen.
So,
hey, pilots that have your baskets and burners set up, pilots with your baskets and burners set up, hopefully you can hear us. If any of you can hear, there's one right there.
There's one that can hear us.
If any of you can hear us, let's count down and try an all burn. We'll see who's out there.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. So an all candlestick burn, all candlestick. Everybody light it up. Count with us, please. In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Candlestick.
All burn, candlestick. Anybody that's got them, light them up. There you go.
There you go. Look at that.
Yeah, well done. Well done.
Point the burner into the wind so it doesn't
Yeah.
go too far.
Yeah, so you don't lose your eyelashes while you're doing an all burn.
Hey, there's a lot of people out there. We should see how many people are out there.
Oh, I know where you're going.
You know where I'm going?
I know where you're going, yeah.
Hey, so if you're out there with your cell phone, could you turn it towards the south end and the building, the rooftop studio?
Toward the museum.
Yeah, towards the museum. Turn your cell phones on, get the flashlights out, point it our way. Let's do it, everybody. Do your flashlights, your cell phones. Point your light towards the south end, towards the museum. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cell phones.
Look at that.
All right.
It's like, we need the theme from Star Wars. It's like a star field out there.
It looks like a star field out there. That's great.
That's awesome. You guys are
all.
great.
Look
at that.
All the way up
it's
the
just
line.
amazing.
Yeah.
All the way down Main. Oh, that's
all the way down Main Street.
Yeah. Hey,
all
you guys are great.
We're taking these guys on the road.
That's right.
Y'all have to come back tomorrow
and
do
this again. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to take the 50th Fiesta on tour.
In the early days, there used to be a balloon tour, a competition tour.
The Cool easy for me to say, the Cool Pro Tour.
Right.
And it was a group of, I forget, maybe 20 balloonists.
Something like that, yeah.
That literally traveled from town to town doing balloon competitions and having championships.
Basically putting on a balloon rally in all these different towns, and there was competition.
Yeah. There are a lot of veterans from the Cool Pro Tour. Bill Bussey, a good friend of mine at home, Dr. Bussey, was a member of that.
Got to chat with him the other day. He was in town.
Was he?
Yeah, he was here.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if I'm sure he's staying for part of the week anyway.
I think so. Bob Corey, who flew the Cool Balloon for a long time, was a part of that, part of orchestrating it all. So there was a pro balloon tour.
Yep.
There was kind of a balloonist version of NASCAR, if you will, sort of thing. Yeah.
Let's see if we can get everybody. We got the burners to go off, and we had the cell phones to go off. Let's just have everybody light everything up.
If you got something that lights up,
light it up.
Yeah.
Get ready. Everybody's going to light up what they got. Well, if you're sitting in the truck, you can turn the trucks on the
headlights
headlights
on. If you got them, light them.
If you got something that lights up, let's light everything up in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Light it all up. Everything.
If you got it, light it.
Light it up.
Who says we don't know how to throw a party?
I guess after 50 years it works, right?
I guess so. We got people with there's some twinkle lights down in Sponsor Hospitality. And Yeah,
we'll make our own fun here.
absolutely.
You bet.
Yeah. And if you're on the field, I said earlier, I was urging the people who are online to stay online to see the drone show. If you're here at the field, you definitely want to stay and see that as well. trust me, it is a really exciting show to see. And look what's happening in our audience. Online once again, Art.
Oh,
they're using the fire emoji and doing.
They're lighting up the social media
as well, doing all burns.
YouTube did that earlier today, but they haven't caught up with it tonight.
Yeah,
but of course, now they're asking on
Facebook,
why is the drone show canceled? The drone show is
canceled.
not.
Who said it was?
Not canceled. We were specific about the drone show not
Start
canceled.
Listening to Balloon Fiesta live for your information.
It is on schedule for 15 minutes from right now.
Right now, absolutely.
It just clicked over.
Yeah. So, okay. While I don't know that they can see this, but I'm going to get back to that on the because we don't have a camera operator here. Could you come back to the shot of me and Art? I don't know. Okay, see when we were doing the glows? Yeah. That's my iPhone.
That's the Allburn taking place on YouTube.
That's the Allburn, and people were using.
Facebook.
They were texting the fire emergency, so they were doing Allburns online. So yeah, thanks.
So those of you on YouTube need to get with it because that shot came from. Oh, here we come. Here we come now. YouTube's finally
catching up. Yeah,
they're catching up there.
Now
there
there's
we
more
go.
of it going on.
Yeah, because Facebook has got you beat there.
Yeah,
so.
Facebook is doing their own Allburning here. We're going to burn the house down on Facebook.
Oh, boy.
And this is only night number 1.
There you go.
There's several more to come.
Yep.
8 more days, 4 more nights.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But
fun.
yeah, it's always, it's disappointing when you can't do a full-blown glow or some of those things. But, we understand that ballooning is a weather-dependent sport. And so we make the most we can.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Glows actually started because balloons can't fly at night, and balloonists wanted to do something. So we'll just stand our balloon up and we'll light it up. And that's how all that started. Now it's a big part of every
balloon event in the world has a balloon glow. And, I always tell people at events that I'm announcing individually, and I'm sure you do the same, you have to understand that, when people go away and say, oh, it was so disappointing because the balloons didn't get to glow or the balloons didn't fly, you have to remember, as pilots, we are just as disappointed. As announcers, Art and I are just as disappointed as you are. We come to these kinds of events because we are extroverts. We want to put on a show. We want to perform. We want to get our balloons out and fly them and share the beauty of it with you and have all of that fun. And when we get stood down, we're not any happier about it than you are. But safety always has to come first. And sometimes the weather conditions just demand that for a safe show, you sometimes can't do everything you want to do.
Exactly.
But it doesn't mean that we're happy about it. We don't go away and go, oh, wow, I got the night off. Pilots when we don't get to fly, and that's why we will try and do on mornings when we can't fly over the past years, why we will then often clear the field to at least do static displays, stand the balloons up here on the field, even though we won't release them to fly.
The last Saturday of last year, remember, we stood every balloon up on the field.
Yep.
Some of the most incredible pictures we have from that Saturday.
And sometimes those are the most memorable events because the people can see the balloons, they stay here, they're up longer, they don't just launch and fly away and they're gone. They're here, and you can wander around amongst them. I can remember years ago in Plano, we had a foggy morning where we couldn't fly, but we ended up doing a static display, like we called it the fog glow or glow in the fog or something. But it was spectacular because you couldn't see the top 2/3 of the balloons.
Oh, wow.
But all the crowd was mingling around the balloons in the fog, and when you do a burn, it would kind of burn off a little of the fog. It was a great, memorable morning, and so those are some of the great moments sometimes that happen purely by accident.
Right. Well, like that Saturday, because normally, think about it, we had a mass ascension this morning, as we do most mornings.
Right.
And so we start in the middle and on the end, and we have no more than 3 rows at any end standing up at a time.
Yes.
Others are laying down or in various stages of inflation. But that last Saturday of last year, because we were doing a static, every balloon was standing. Right. And to get the pictures of that, we had a drone in the air for some pictures. And the pictures of that day, something we really have never seen before because we're always flying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the statics are really cool that way sometimes.
Yeah, so it isn't always, as I say, the fact that something gets canceled or we can't do a full-blown program that we had planned.
Right.
it's just as disappointing for us as it is for the crowd, and we typically will try to do the very best we can to put on some kind of a show. Even tonight, with just you and I trying to orchestrate a little bit of a kind of a wild and crazy, informal glow there, because we knew we had some of the pilots that had their baskets and burners up. Something to entertain the crowd, because we appreciate and understand they've come out to have an evening and enjoy it and see balloons, and we want to do what we can to help make that evening happen for you.
So the glow doesn't happen tonight. We're just going to play a little bit with some candlestick as we lead up to our brand new, no longer top secret drone. I actually updated the webpage this afternoon, so the top secret banner is gone.
Okay.
And now there is a still
declassified.
shot. It's been declassified. Yep. It was interesting. I was looking, just checking through the feeds and checking what kind of reaction things were getting, et cetera. And I came across a post from one of the local TV stations and want to know what the schedule is at Balloon Fiesta. And here's the schedule. And they had picked up top secret aerial show for 5:45 in the morning. So they had picked up that same line that I had coined here with our staff to be able to pull that together.
And it was top. I mean, I didn't even know what it was until I got here this morning and saw it. Yeah.
We referred to it in staff meetings as that show that we can't talk about.
Yeah.
So, even in staff meetings, it was pretty hush-hush.
I see.
Well, and I mentioned to you, I did not see the final render of the show until 6:16 yesterday morning.
Wow.
And that's when I got it. I didn't even see it until about noon yesterday when the time I got back. So I got to finish. I had seen an earlier version, but I got to finish that soundtrack at 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon.
Wow.
So a little over 12 hours before it went live in front of everybody.
Yeah.
So
well, again,
it was fun putting that together.
Yeah, nice job.
Thanks.
I really enjoyed it, and doing audio production, and you and I both have that background and knowing what went into it. It was an incredibly well done show, and people are going to enjoy it. It's a great new addition to our programs here at Balloon Fiesta.
Yep. So Alvin is checking in from San Diego. Wish you could be here as well, sir. Hopefully the feed gets you closer to enjoying what's going on here.
Nicole Monk asking, are they still night skydiving? No, the night skydive was canceled because of the winds. So Team Fast Tracks did earlier cancel their night skydive. They will hopefully be back with us tomorrow.
You know what I think let's do, Mr. Glenn? Let's
did the
call.
Gas balloons go up? No, the gas balloons also canceled tonight. We are standing by for a tentative launch tomorrow evening.
So I'm thinking that we call another all burn, all light, everything up here.
Okay.
And kind of wrap that up, and then we'll be about 5 minutes away from the drone show.
Okay.
So we'll give everybody a moment to grab a drink and
catch their breath.
Make that other stop there. That'll give us the opportunity to actually have that coordination. In fact, the drone show folks are calling me right now.
Okay.
So why don't you call an all burn?
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, pilots, once again, if you're up and you have your fuel systems fired up, we're going to do one final all burn for the evening. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've got cell phones, if you've got twinkle lights, turn the headlights on your car. We don't care what it is. If it lights up, turn it on. Pilots, here we go. One final all burn for the night in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Light them up. If you got it, light it. There go the cell phones. We still got a few burners up tonight. Well done. Thank you. Thanks, pilots. We appreciate your working with us this evening, and to you too, ladies and gentlemen, for the cell phone lights. That's it's quite a scene from up here, I have to tell you that. I know some of you down there can't see it, but it's quite a nice scene up here.
So with that said, great job there. And so I am actually getting ready to coordinate the start of the drone show as well.
Okay.
So at this point, that was really needed to be the last candlestick burn. So pilots, you can go ahead and throw one last second burn off. And then it's time to pack up the baskets. Go get, are they going to be able to fuel before fireworks, or do they have to wait till afterwards? It'll still be after
Okay.
fireworks, but they can go ahead and pack up. And many of them were getting ready to put their balloons up this morning. So if you pack up your basket now, you'll be able to watch the drone show, which will get underway here in about 5.5 minutes. So go ahead and pack up there. If you're on the field, I would move towards the north end of the field. If you're down here on the south, you can see the show from pretty much everywhere, but more of the best views are going to be probably on the north half of that field, or center somewhere. That would be a great way to be. If you're down here in the south end, you might want to move out there just a little bit. But, again, you can see it pretty much from anywhere. If you're watching on the stream, you have 4 minutes to take a nature break and refill your favorite beverage before we start the brand new aerial drone light show here at Balloon Fiesta. Yeah, one more there, yep. And then close the tanks and burn the fuel out of the lines. So, yeah, you're going here, yep. So I think that's the deal here. Let's just go ahead and let's say
goodnight, okay.
And then, again, the drone show will start here in now basically 4 minutes.
Okay.
And after that, after the drone show, right into the fireworks. And then we will be back at 6 a.m. Mountain Time tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
For a Dawn Patrol show. Actually, remember, on the field, 545 drones.
That's right.
To see it, you have to be here.
Coming up right now on the feed.
Right. 6 o'clock, Dawn Patrol show first. Krispy Kreme Glow, Mass Ascension starting about 7 o'clock. All happening tomorrow morning. We're still on schedule now for the America's Challenge Gas Balloon Race tomorrow afternoon and evening. Okay. And we have the original Balloon Glow, the one that kind of started it all here in Albuquerque tomorrow night, when we will attempt to break a Guinness World Record for the most number of balloons glowing at one time.
Okay.
So that's all up tomorrow. That's all it. So for us, we're going to say goodnight, but you need to stick with us and watch the rest of the show, the drone show, and the fireworks coming up. Don't go away from the feed.
The feed is staying online. We're stepping aside.
We're going to get out of the way and let the rest of it take care of itself.
Absolutely.
So he's Glen Moyer.
He's Art Lloyd.
We'll see you tomorrow morning. Enjoy the rest of the show tonight.
Good night.
Good night. direct your attention to the western sky. Welcome to the 50th Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. Not only have we been flying hot air balloons for 50 years, this marks the 25th time we've held the America's Challenge gas balloon event. Gas balloons typically fly for days, often reaching the northeast part of the United States. And being an international event, Balloon Fiesta attracts pilots and spectators from around the world. They come for many reasons. Flying the Albuquerque box. Where the official state question is red or green. Chili, that is.
Albuquerque is also home to one of the longest trams in the world. Our fun history goes back 50 years when the Roadrunner and Coyote Chase became the balloon competition. There is a rich cultural environment in New Mexico. This aerial drone show is presented by Sandia Resort and Casino. Back at Balloon Fiesta, don't miss our fabulous fireworks at every evening session. And join us for all 14 different ballooning sessions. Thanks for celebrating 50 years with us. And it all started due to the vision, energy, and dedication of one man, Sid Cutter. We hope you have enjoyed our new aerial drone show, presented by Sandia Resort and Casino. This is the 50th Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta.
You've been watching Balloon Fiesta Live, powered by ExxonMobil. Want more balloon action? Visit the archive of all the Balloon Fiesta Live broadcasts at balloonfiesta.com. And make plans to join us in person for number 51, October 7th through the 15th, 2023. Thanks for watching Balloon Fiesta Live. This program is a production of AIBF Inc.